budget tech gadgets. Do they actually exist? Because it seems like creators are always promoting the same expensive gadget that really no one needs or ever uses. So here are 5 tech gadgets you'll actually use on a daily basis, all under $100, and some of them are actually kinda underrated. So starting off with a useful little laser measure that I actually got recently, and you may have seen featured in a video lately, which is the Xiaomi Laser Measure. Now this little laser measure comes in at just $20 from AliExpress, and trust me, it is not AliExpress quality. This thing has solid metal and fine plastic everywhere, which is nice because this thing went straight into my toolbox, where it'll probably go for most people. Also in the box is a USB-C cable for charging and some documentation, which is definitely not in my native language. The other part of this device is not only just the metal body, but it also has a digital display, which shows either your live or saved measurement, as well as a toggle to show if you are including the length of the measure in your final measurement, which is a sweet feature to have. And you can toggle this just by double clicking the front button. That's pretty much it for the overall actual device, but since this is a smart laser measure, there's a lot more. If you want to get the full potential out of this smart laser measure, you're going to have to download another app, which might put some people off. And for me, getting the app to download in the first place was a huge hassle because you have to download yet another Chinese app, which may bother some people, but also getting the smart laser measure to pair was kind of a pain. First, I had to scan like 3 different barcodes on the documentation, which I barely understood what was even saying and had to use my Translate app to even translate it. Then I had to add the smart laser measure as a device, which required me to set my region to Chinese mainland, which may have just given them access to my entire life, which I'm a little still concerned about that one. But yeah, so once I had done that, I was able to configure it from there in the app. And in the app, there is a lot of configuration you can do just with the measurements, but not necessarily the actual settings for this thing. The only actual settings you can change in the app for a smart laser measure are between you want to see meters, or you can switch it to feet. But even being able to do that, every time you turn on and off the device, it resets, which is actually kind of annoying. But also in the app, you can draw or map out an entire room using the measurements that you stored in the device. You can do calculations using those measurements. And overall, there's a lot of things to do with the measurements while using the app. However, the app is required to get full functionality out of the device. But even without using it, as long as you're fine with using meters, this is a great device to just throw in a backpack or a back pocket and get quick measurements quick and easy. And it's overall a pretty accurate laser measure for also not a terrible price. The next product on this list is a little closer to that $100 price limit, but it's also an amazing product that I think should be included. And don't worry, the next product is the most affordable on this list, and likely the most useful. But this product is the Keychron K3 low profile keyboard, coming in at just $84, although it regularly goes down to around $50 or $60 on sale. Now this is a mechanical keyboard, which I've heard have taken the internet by storm in the recent few years. This is also the brown switch variant, which means it is a tactile, low profile, little bit quieter but clickier sounding. But if you also prefer different switch types, there is also a red switch option. The reason this keyboard is on this list is not just because this individual keyboard is so great, but the company Keychron as a whole is such a great company to buy a keyboard from. Included with Keychron keyboards like this one is a keycap remover, as well as different keycaps to swap out, like if you use Windows, or bonus ones that let you swap out different keys for the orange accent ones if those match your vibe a little bit better. So overall, Keychron has actually really impressed me with this specific model. While there's lighting modes, there's lots of things to do with this keyboard. I also think you don't have to get this keyboard, but there are lots of great Keychron keyboards to check out that have many varying features and different skills or different professions that will use those different types of keyboards. So overall, Keychron has really impressed me. And if you don't get this specific model, there are a ton of options out there to choose from. But the reason I picked this one is because it's low profile for quieter typing, but there's also fun lighting modes and the standard mid-range keyboard options like multimedia keys and a sturdy metal frame. And at around $50 or $60, I think it's a solid keyboard that is bound to last you many years. Now, next up on this list is a product that I use literally every day. It is only $10 on sale, and those are the Anker Nano chargers. Now, you're probably wondering, Simon, why did you include a charging brick on your best gadgets list? Well, that's a good question, because these are higher quality and better quality than any of the other charging bricks I've used at this price point. Now, first off, they're 20-watt chargers, which means that they can fast charge many modern phones like iPhones or most modern Android phones. But genuinely, they're the sturdiest and most reliable chargers I've used. Also, being surrounded by 5-watt chargers your entire life means that you're always going to be charging your phone slow, which is good for overnight, but not when you're at 5%. These are also nano chargers, meaning they fit into your coat pockets or backpacks with ease, which is the main reason I love them. I can plug them into wall outlets and not have them stick out too far behind furniture. So whether you're on the go or at home, I recommend just buying one or two for $20 and just see how much they improve your life. Next on this list is a product that many of you may already have in your home, and that is the Google Nest Mini. I first got mine about 2 years ago, and this thing is one of the more underrated for its price, especially in the smart home market. So normally the Nest Hub Mini is about $50, but it often goes on sale for about $30, which I think is a great price to buy this at, and I highly recommend picking one up at that price. Like I said earlier, many of you guys may have these in your home, or maybe you have Echo Dots in your house, and in that case, run. But most of these products are going to be found in your house. So I'm not saying go out and buy a newer version if you already have this, but if you don't have a smart speaker, I highly recommend checking out the Nest Mini for a couple of reasons. First off, I've used Echo Dots and I've used Google Smart Home products, and I can say that these are so much cleaner looking, nicer sounding, and aren't forcing you to buy things all the time compared to Echoes. The product itself is fairly compact, hence the Mini name, and with the color options, I'm sure it would fit into pretty much any room or environment you could possibly think of. The app and ecosystem are honestly the best part about these, because if you have two, you can pair them together to get like a speaker surround sound system on a budget, which is what I have set up in my room. And you also have a lot more control over how your assistant sounds, which just, the Google Assistant sounds so much more natural than, and honestly, I just recommend checking out Google over Amazon in 2025. So I think overall, just having a smart assistant in 2025 is a great way to get off your phone. And, you know, it's useful to be able to know what the weather is like or control smart home devices without having to go searching for your phone every single time. This also functions as a really solid speaker, like I said earlier. The audio quality is really solid, and there are some EQ settings in the app if you need those. But overall, I just recommend checking out the Nest Mini as a cheaper smart home product that may bring you a lot more benefits than you initially realize. Now, moving on to the last product on this list, which is the Logitech M650 mouse. Once again, it seems like kind of an outlier on this list because this product doesn't just benefit you, but it benefits everyone around you. I'll explain. So I've been using the M650 mouse for over a year now, and I can say it is far better than any other mouse I've used out there for 3 reasons. One, this thing is silent. Like, listen to this. Yeah, so whether you're working late at night or just sitting on the couch, the people around you won't be bothered by the obnoxious clicking. Number 2 is the features. Logitech has been pushing AI features within the software of their products, which is the worst part of the software. But otherwise, you can customize what each buttons do in the app down to a T. And the fact that the software is so connected means that you get notifications when batteries are low, which is very useful. And 3 is the price. While this mouse comes in at just under $40, it's not exactly cheap for a mouse, but I feel like it's worth every single penny. If you watched any other YouTuber desk setup videos, you've probably seen them recommend the MX Master mice or some of the more expensive mice talking about features and customization. But with this mouse, you get most of that and more at a price point, making it slightly a more expensive mouse than the cheap $15 ones you may be used to. However, I've been using this thing for over a year and it's still working great for me. And I hope this mouse will continue to work for many years to come. So those are my top gadgets for 2025. If you think I missed any important ones or want me to check out some new ones in the next video, let me know. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.